Hi, and welcome to Minis and Motorbikes. Now this is my daily drive, and it's a BMW 4 Series, and I love it. It gets me from A to B in lots of comfort, but today we're going to look at something a little bit more special.
What?
You can get out of bed now, can't you?
Of course.
Oh,
of course I'm going to get out of bed for this, aren't I?
Be looking at. Oh, I tell you what. Oi, no, stop mucking about now, right? I like this car. I like this. This is a bit of something, isn't it, eh?
You had to, didn't you? Yeah. Well, it's the XCS 427 supercharged LS3, 650 brake. And it weighs a ton.
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah,
I'm glad you got that out. Crikey. Well, all I can say is I know it's nice and shiny, isn't it? Hey, it's a lovely looking thing.
It's a little bit more than that.
I reckon this would get you back to the workshop pretty quick, wouldn't it?
It'd get me back to the workshop very quickly.
We've allowed you out today. Yeah.
I don't want to go back in there yet.
Talking of workshops, mate, there's a pretty good smart one.
There's a lovely workshop in there.
I reckon you want to get in there and see if you can learn something.
Yeah.
Do you want a hand getting out of there?
I think I might.
Yeah.
Right,
I can't give you a hand, mate. I can't get that close to you. I can't.
All right.
I don't want to get that close.
Struggle on my own.
See if you can come off.
It's alright, mate. It's alright for you, Bilbo, isn't it? Yeah.
Good job you need a Formula 1 race car you were trying to get out of, isn't it?
That never happened.
Blimey. Was that the seats creaking or your bones? Bones. Oh, yeah, man. Right.
Very nice.
Well, you better go and see how they made, mate.
I'm going to go in there.
All right. We'll see you in a bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to stand in there and look at the paint. Yeah. All right. See you in a bit.
Right, James. Tell us about this one. I've noticed it's slightly different to the one in the corner. Obviously, it's got tubular frame, and that one's a box section frame. So, what's the key differences between them?
So the main difference between the round tube, which is this one, and the one you'll be seeing a bit later on, the bare chassis version, and that one, obviously, as you pointed out, square tube.
Yeah.
The main difference between the two is that's got camber compensation on the front and a Dion rear axle, so it's more of a traditional arrangement. This one has camber comp front and camber comp rear, so it's a bit more of a developed, sophisticated suspension setup.
Yeah, I've noticed on this one that the hubs are different as well. These are machined hubs, where on one of the other ones I noticed they were welded hubs. They were,
you can have either on this product, this being the premium one, it comes with the billet CNC hubs, and that one over there has the fabricated steel hubs on it. You could fit these hubs onto that car or vice versa, but it's entirely up to you and how much you want to spend, really, like any of these things.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no.
Oh, help yourself.
That's handy. Oh. And it fits. Oh. Right. Okay. So we move down on to the next one.
Yep.
Tell us about that one.
Okay. So this is the square tube chassis, which was the one we were talking about just over there. So with the D on rear end. Again,
engine wise.
This one is a 383 small block Chevy. It's probably good for around 350, 400 horsepower, something around that sort of order. So this is your more traditional kind of Cobra build that most people would be familiar with.
Yeah.
Obviously, whereas the LS's is a lot more modern engine and a lot more electronics, of course, as well.
Yeah. I've noticed on your car, because the wheels a different sort of setup. Can you sort of explain about those a little bit?
Yeah, so we make our own wheels, and basically on the rear they run a 19-inch rear and an 18-inch front.
Yeah.
But the centres are the same size on both. So visually, the wheels look like the same size, same diameter, but you get the added benefit of getting a better tyre choice and that sort of thing. Obviously, the wheels need to be pretty big because we generally run quite big brakes.
On to the third and final one.
Okay, so this is actually a customer car. This is a round tube chassis again. This one is fairly spicy, so this is supercharged LS again.
Yeah, 650 again.
Maybe a little bit more out of this one. It's got a really quite snazzy fuel system in it, so it should be quite good fun.
I noticed the dynamat as well.
Yeah, it's slightly academic from the soundproofing point of view in a car with no windows, no roof and massive great side pipes, but it works quite well for stopping sort of vibration and a bit of heat insulation and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's an option. Some people do it, some people don't.
And that's got the jag diff on it as well.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's very black.
Very, very black. Yeah, black headlamp rings, black indicator rings, black chrome roll bars, black chrome filler caps, and a very, very different set of wheels to what you see on the Cobra normally. They are 3-piece still, but they're just a bit different from the norm.
So is that an uprated brake kit?
This has got some quite serious stoppers on it. I think it's probably again
like six pot or 4 pot.
6 pots on the front, and then I think they're 4 pots on the back. I'd have to double check, but as you can see from the tyres, it's been pretty much set up as a track car.
Yeah, 888s. Yeah.
So should be good fun once it's done. It's having all of its wiring loom sorted at the moment, and then it'll go off to paint after that.
Nice, lovely. So I noticed that one stood in gel coat. Can you have is there an option you can have it left in gel coat or?
Yeah, you can have either. You can probably see from the seams that our seams are pretty good, to be honest. They don't really need a lot of work.
Who gets the job of tidying them up?
The body shop will get the job of that.
2 standing knife blades taped together.
Yeah, something like that. bit of 800 grit, that'll do it. But yeah, you can have pretty much any colour gel coat you want these days. We've got a colour chart upstairs that's probably got 30, 40 different options. So they do look good in gel coat. But again, it's all the budget thing really.
Yeah, and your rocker covers as well,
Yeah, so nice thing about them is that they just cover up the coil packs. Which is one of the things that sort of makes the LS, can make the LS look a little bit ugly, perhaps some people might say. So yeah, it's just a nice little
touch.
cut.
Make it look a bit more traditional as well,
doesn't
it? Sort of.
Yeah, along with obviously the massive traditional supercharger on the top of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, the thing that's caught my eye a little bit is the 4x4 in the corner at the back.
Well, you say 4x4.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not. It's rear-wheel drive. It's basically a pro truck built by Harvey, who's our MD.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised to hear it's got an LS motor in it.
Oh, is it? What, LS3?
Yeah, like everything has in this shop.
Diff?
Don't know what the diff is in that one actually. But yeah, so it's basically Harvey's idea of pro truck. That was his background, he's always been into off-road racing. So yeah, all his own work, body shell, chassis, everything. Was around in the previous guys with a VW 1.9 TDI lump in it, but obviously everything's better with an LS.
Of course. Good. Right, I'd like to see the compensation, the camber compensation.
No problem.
Yeah.
We can go through and do that now.
Cool. Hello, Gary.
Hello there, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. This must be the camber compensation.
Yes, yeah.
Would you like to tell us about it? Because it's just...
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to explain exactly how it works in detail. I mean, if you go on our website, there is an animation of how it works. But simply, what we're trying to achieve is we're trying to keep the wheels at a set camber to the road, no matter what the car does. A conventional double A-arm system under braking, as the car squats, it will pull on anything up to 2 degrees camber, just when you want the wheels upright for grip. This system, as it squats under braking, the camber, the car can squat right down into the bump stop, so the camber doesn't alter at all.
Yeah.
And the same when you're in a corner and the body rolls, the camber still stays the same at the road.
Yeah, so hard braking is still fun.
Late braking in corners, if you're chasing someone on a racetrack and you see their lights come on, you can generally get right up the side before you even hit the brakes. You can.
Cracking. So you've got that on the back as well on this?
Yes, on the back. And again, the same benefits at the back. Under acceleration, as the car goes into squat, normally the car will squat, it'll pull on camber, and again you need the wheels square to the road for traction, for grip. But this thing, we keep it. The suspension's ever so compliant. It will squat a lot as it pulls away.
Yeah.
But the wheels stay dead square to the road, and you're getting the full 11 inches of tyre.
So the 50p piece is everything.
The conventional, the earlier systems, like when we were using shortened jag back axles, especially with a shortened jag back axle, it pulls on even more camber than the standard one because it's scribing tighter arcs.
Yeah.
And that you could see just by the skid marks alone. You'd dump the clutch, and the skid marks would start off the full width of the tyre. And then as it went a few yards up the road, the skid marks would get skinnier towards the inside, and the wheels would spin even more frantic.
Yeah.
And you could never really get a good 0 to 60. You know, even no matter what power you had, you couldn't get it below 5 seconds. Whereas these, they'll do a sub 4 second to 60.
Yeah. Right, the other thing I've got a question about is this lovely beast here, this rod you've got.
Yeah.
Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, this again, I've always wanted, I'd love to have hot rods, and in my early engineering career, I did work with the guy that made the bodies for this, Nick Vincent of Pro Laminates, and we had a company called Street Rod Engineering, where we used to make chassis for Ford Pops and stuff. Yeah. So I always wanted a hot rod, and then when I was working with DAX for 30 odd years, I'd never got to do anything like that. No. It was just brushes and cobras and a few other things. Yeah. So I went to go back to this, but then after developing the camber compensation, for the Cobra chassis, I thought it'd be really good to have a hot rod that actually went around corners as well. So I've used the front and rear subframe from the Cobra chassis, so it's the same camber compensation. It's a little bit wider, and in fact it's the same geometry as what I did for the Rush. Yeah. But it's a longer wheelbase. And it's the same LS engine again as always, LS3 with a 5-speed.
So basically you built the whole thing yourself, and the only thing you bought in is the engine.
The engine and box, and wheels.
And
the grill is an original. Well, not an original, but you can buy brand new.
I see. Yeah.
And the headlights.
Yeah. So what sort of horsepower is that? Sort of?
That's about 450. Yeah.
The bodywork's interesting. If you tell us about that, because it looks metal, but it's not. No.
The main body, fiberglass, obviously it's just a replica of a Model A pickup body, early 1929. The mudguards, again fiberglass. But it's the paint. It's sort of an iron powder paint made by a company called the Rusty Paint Company. And it's dead easy to use as well. You just put it on. I just put it on with a 6-inch radiator roller, Really? And bosh it all on. Yeah. And then you get a little bottle with extra iron powder in. Yeah. Sprinkle that around the edges to make it.
I see. So that's worn and
And then you use. It's like they give you this white powder. I'm not sure whether it's just salt or some sort of mild acid. You mix water with it, squirt that all over it, and it just turns to rust.
So is that then treated with a lacquer of some sort? Or
Just leave it, and it will get mankier as it gets on, as it goes on.
Like a sword. Get patina.
Well, patina does add value to things nowadays, doesn't it? It never used to. But,
No, that's very nice. Now. Yeah, and the steering wheel, you made the steering wheel.
Yeah, all the interior, the dashboard, the steering wheel, gear lever and stuff. Everything in there is fabricated. Seats are the shells that we normally use
for the Rush.
Just no interior, no sort of upholstery, just a little thin pad. Yeah, they're quite comfy.
Car now on the Rush. See, I know the Rush because there's sort of 3 iconic Lotus 7 cars, Caterham, Westfield, and the Rush. If you wouldn't mind telling us about this and the engine as well, because I know them more with motorbike engines in them or V8s in them really.
Yeah, I mean this particular car was built by Harvey for Harvey's current partner in XCS, Peter Holmes. It originally is a DAC chassis, and it runs a Audi, turbocharged Audi engine.
Is it the S3? Is it RS3? Is it the RS3?
I'm not sure actually. I'm not a Volkswagen Audi man myself. But I mean, yeah, like I say, it was a rush kit originally, DAX rush kit, and the DAX rush, we started 30 something years ago at DAX. We designed this.
Yeah. So has this one got adjustable pedal box on it and
this has got
adjustable suspension?
It's camber compensation suspension again. It's the first era of camber compensation that we did. Peter Walker, my original partner in XCS, actually designed all the camber compensation.
Yeah.
The first cars we put it on were the back actually of a DAX Rush.
Yeah.
And then we went on to put it on the front.
Yeah, because I think there were two options, weren't there? Again, they have the Dion back.
Well, the Dion, we went over to the Dion because it was a cheaper way of achieving the same geometry.
Yeah.
A Caterham still used the Dion.
Yeah.
You know, it's a really good system.
Yeah.
It's not quite as good because you still have got both wheels connected on a common
Did you have a panharder on that or not?
No. We controlled it. You can do it with a panharder or you can do it with a Watts linkage to stop it the sideways movement.
Yeah.
But all we actually do is have a big A-arm on the top of the Dion beam.
Yeah.
The Caterham has it on the bottom, but then it lowers the roll centre, and then you need anti-roll bars, and we don't like anti-roll bars, as we said before. By having the A-arm higher, you get a higher roll centre, and you don't need an anti-roll bar. And then with the roll stiffness we get from the camber compensation on the front, again this car has very little roll, and very compliant suspension, much more grip.
Yeah. So it's hard to use this as a track day car more than
this is just a track day car. It's been just been used as a toy track day car. Really, it's not been raced seriously or anything.
No. So what sort of horsepower is the engine?
I think it's capable of sort of 500 horsepower, but I don't think it's running that at the moment.
Yeah.
Even this car, even with sort of 250 horsepower, is enough to scare anybody that gets in it.
How many kilos? What about
Probably about
600,
between 600 and 700 kilos, with a car engine.
Yeah, because I know them more with the motorcycle engine in them when they first all come out.
Well, the motorcycle engine is definitely the best way around a racetrack.
Yeah.
But they're just not.
Road car.
You don't get the reliability.
You've just
exactly. The RPM
and the noise.
I mean,
sounds lovely.
Yeah, the first Rush ever, I built for myself with a bike engine.
Yeah.
And that was the first bike engine Rush that was ever built, and it had a 900cc or an 883 Fireblade engine.
Sierra differently.
Yeah, and it was a horrendous thing really. If you was driving it on a motorway, you only got 10 mile an hour, 1,000 RPM. So at 70, you were doing 7,000 RPM. Yeah. And it sounded like you're going much faster than you were, you know.
Yeah. Right. So if in a track situation, if you were using it just purely as a racing car and nothing else, with the camber compensation, could you still use an anti-roll bar, or you wouldn't?
There's no need.
No,
it wouldn't.
See, that's the clever part.
It would actually hinder it because by connecting both wheels together, both wheels want to move together, you know. Yeah. And anything that upsets this one will upset the good one.
That's what people need to understand. That. Yeah. No, I think it's fabulous. It's a wonderful bit of engineering. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, how Peter came up with the idea, I still can't figure out. Apparently, he was out on a walking holiday, and it all came to him in a vision.
In a vision.
And then he made a cardboard template cutout to show us all how it worked, and baffled us all with it. But yeah, such a clever man.
No, it is. It's wonderful. Oh, blimey! This must be where the learning happens, then, Gary.
Yes.
No, this is where everything's built, fabbed, and
this is the bit where you get your hands dirty.
Where it works. So that's a skeleton of a Rush there, then obviously.
This is in development at the moment. We've just started putting it together, but it's basically the same peripheral shape as the DAX Rush.
Yeah.
And again, like the DAX Rush, camber compensation on the front, but with the addition on this one of running camber compensation on the rear.
Yeah.
As well. Mm-hmm. So pretty much like the XCS Cobra chassis.
Yeah.
But it does run a slightly wider track. But it's the same wheelbase, 90-inch wheelbase.
Yeah. And so the Land Rover guys say that's the
optimum wheel?
Well,
90.
if we're off road, hopefully you won't have too much off road with this. But this particular chassis, also we built it heavier initially. We were going to put another LS engine in it.
Yeah.
But halfway through building it, we had the revelation of all of a sudden finding the Honda K24 engine.
Yeah.
Which we're going to turbocharge. And we should get 500 horsepower maybe from that. But at the moment we're still trying to decide what gearbox to put on it.
Don't think that
and differential.
Honda want to take it.
No.
Right. So do you think BMW different?
We think it might. BMW, you've got some really good strong gearboxes, and there are various adapters already on the market for them, and they're cheap. So yeah, it probably will end up BMW.
So you can more or less have any engine variant in this.
We can again, pretty much like the Cobra. I mean, the Cobra, if someone comes in with an oddball engine, we can fit it. And again with this, we will put anything in it basically.
Yeah. So all the fiberglassing is done in house.
Yeah, we've got our own laminating shop upstairs.
Yeah. So how many bodies could you get out of one mould before you have to redo the mould?
Well, I mean, when I was at Dax, the mould we built for the Cobra at Dax is still the mould they're using now. I built that mould over 30 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. If they're built properly,
they
will
last.
last.
Yeah.
I mean, that mould is getting a bit old in the tooth now. It has had lots of repairs on it, and when stuff comes out of it, it's all a bit wobbly.
Yeah.
But it's still going.
Yeah. Very interesting. Well, I'd just like to thank you very much for showing us around.
My pleasure. Yeah.
And seeing where it all happens. Yeah. A lot of people don't get to see it.
No.
I think it's interesting.
It's been a fun job.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it for the last
10 years. Because you're only 35. No, it's great. Yeah, it's great.
So thanks for watching Minis and Motorbikes this week.
Yep, thanks to everybody at XCS. The quality of work, the people are just fabulous. It's been a real pleasure to see proper craftsmen and craftsmanship, true British craftsmanship. Come over and see them, give them a ring, email them, come and see the cars, you must, because they're absolutely bloody awesome. I think that's it really, Mark.
It is, yeah. But just last thing, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell. And we'll see you next week. We'll see you next week, or the week after, or whenever we put another one up. As long as you subscribe, you'll know when it goes up.
And like.
Perfect.
And hit the bell button.
See you next time.